Welcome to Combos from the Couch by LifeStance Health, where leading mental health professionals help guide you on your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Welcome back to Combos from the Couch. I'm Nicolette Lianza, and today we're exploring the unconscious biases that influence how we choose our therapists. Many clients gravitate toward female identified therapists while overlooking male identified ones, often based on assumptions about emotional intelligence and communication styles that don't reflect reality. But research shows therapeutic outcomes depend far more on the relationship quality and therapist skill than on gender. I'm joined today by three therapists from our LifeStance Colorado offices, Wojciech Savechen. Hi, Wojciech.
Hello? Yeah.
Ricky Esposito. Welcome, Ricky.
Greetings.
Yes. And Jasper Wade. Hi, Jasper.
Hello.
And they're here to share insights about being male identified therapists in a field where gender assumptions can really impact client choices. So let's jump in here. So let's start. Let's look at what are the most persistent myths or stereotypes maybe you all encountered regarding this, and how do they impact your work with clients? So why don't we jump in? Ricky, why don't you start us off?
Certainly. So some of the myths that I've perhaps heard before is that male therapists might be less empathetic, less warm, just cold, direct, straight to the point. This is the problem, and we're going to fix the problem. I see that occasionally. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
one. That's
yeah,
the big
those are
one I
big
see.
ones. Yeah, thank you. Wojtek, any you want to add to those?
Yeah. Even though that it's a bias, what I've noticed in especially female identifying clients is they specifically seek out a male identifying therapist because of the perceived bias of frankness, assertiveness, directness, things of that nature. I've had clients report to me that they've sought me out specifically because I like because of their previous therapist was too soft or too affirming or not
Mm-hmm.
challenging enough. So while the biases can, I would think that the biases have a double-edged sword. I think.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that point. Jasper?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with what's been said there. And I think that there is, for some people, this notion that a male provider won't be able to understand that person's trauma if it was caused by a man. And so, like
Mhm.
What Ricky was saying is this question of, is there going to be an empathy gap with my
Yeah,
experiences?
yeah. Jasper, I'm glad you brought that up. I know I've heard clients who maybe I'm meeting for the first time saying they prefer female therapists because they were maybe assaulted or abused by a male. And I think being able to see a male therapist, it could help a person incorporate that not maybe all men are bad or all males are bad, and they can see and learn to trust male therapists as well. So sometimes I do bring that up, and sometimes it's a slow go and really trying to help them eventually reframe to that. I think there is a lot of merits in, and we'll talk about this a little bit later about being able to see a male therapist, especially if maybe the harm that was done was by a male or vice versa
Sure.
too. So yeah, definitely. So some research suggests male therapists are perceived as less empathetic or nurturing than female identified ones. How do you all cultivate empathy and a strong therapeutic alliance, especially with clients who might be skeptical initially? So
Oh, let's see.
Ricky's
Well,
probably picking me first here.
no, that's all right. That's all right. The thought did go through my head for a minute. One of the things that I try to do is I'm a profoundly authentic individual.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so if I'm having some thought or feelings come up in therapy, sometimes I might reflect that and say, so one of the things that I'm picking up on is this. And so I might reflect their feelings, but then also at some point express some of my own feelings as well. And sometimes that can be beneficial for
mhm.
people to just know my authenticity,
Mhm.
my genuineness, but then also there are other times when I distinctly do not do that because it provides some space for them to feel what they feel without anything being added from their therapist. And
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
try to I want to say I try to find the best time to do a little bit of both. So I guess just authenticity,
Mhm.
sharing, being genuine, being reflecting their feelings, and sometimes occasionally when it calls for it, sharing my own.
Great. Oh, thank you. Wojciech?
Yeah, for me, I find that directly checking in with the client as to how they would like me to present for the day. As a male identifying therapist, problem solving is a knack of mine, I suppose. And it naturally it comes out. And some days it is helpful, and some days it isn't. So direct check-in and frequent check-in with the client that are we on the same page? Are you receiving what you need from me at this moment in time? And then, yeah, just letting them know I'm there with them, trying to make sure I'm on the same page.
Yeah, great. Jasper?
Yeah, I think really building off both what Ricky and Wojtek have said. For me, the big one is listening before making any kind of judgment, before jumping into problem solving,
Mm.
making sure that my clients feel really empowered to solve their own problems in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, right? They
Yeah.
are the expert in their life and really
Yeah.
trusting them to believe and lean into that, right?
Yeah.
And very much so showing compassion in every way that I can.
Oh, love that. Thank you. Have you guys ever felt that clients of any gender were hesitant to open up to you because of you guys being male? And how did you navigate those moments to build trust?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take Ricky off
Yeah,
the
sure,
spotlight and go
Wojtek.
first.
Yeah.
When we get the initial intake, we're often aware of what the presenting problem is. And if it's a
Mhm.
female presenting client, and if there is a documentation of a sexual assault, I will often bring it up in the initial assessment that how does it fit with you that I am a male therapist? I
Mhm.
check in with them as to their comfort level. Honestly, I've never especially female identifying clients that do come in to see me specifically seek out a male therapist, even
Ah,
ones that are have a eh, I've never had a female come in and say, I wanted a female therapist and you're not it kind of thing. Because I was sought out because of
yeah,
specifically of
good
the
point.
characteristics that I bring to the session. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, excellent point. Ricky
I
or Jasper? Ricky?
I
Go ahead.
I typically lean into it. That's just my style of a therapist. If there's
Mhm.
a whatever it is, if there's a misunderstanding, if there's some kind of feeling, if there's an elephant in the room, anything like that, I lean into it.
Mm.
Had this client once and didn't have any paperwork about them beforehand. I know nothing. I know nothing about them before the first time I see them. And we're just going through the initial paperwork. And I mentioned something I'm going through these bullet points with intake paperwork. And as soon as I get to this part about professional relationship, as in sexual intimacy is never appropriate in a professional relationship, I just had this feeling that something unspoken or unsaid was being going on within the client. And so I just emphasize some things. I'm like, hey, I just want you to know
Mm.
that never ever will any kind
Good.
of sexual intimacy ever happen in this. I want to protect this space for
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
fiercely, fiercely. And I just want to create this space that you feel
Yeah.
safe.
Ricky,
And
I want to applaud
yeah,
you
go
for
ahead.
that because you're
Oh, thanks.
establishing safety right there,
Yeah,
especially for those who've navigated a lot of trauma, especially if it was done by a man or male. So you just like
yeah,
literally putting it out there, like you are safe. There will never be anything like that's going to happen between
yeah,
us. Really
absolutely,
appreciate that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the short version, paraphrasing a bit, is that the client expressed their deep appreciation because they felt like they were seen as a sexual object from men throughout their life. And I didn't
Mhm.
know that. I had no clue before that, but like I said, I felt there was some kind of tension and I wanted to lean into it, call it out, and also create that safe place for
Mhm.
them.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jasper?
Yeah, in a similar line, Ricky, I've had a client come in before who I did not know until, gosh, I want to say it was like a year and a half into the relationship with this client where we'd been doing really great work together.
Yeah.
And they told me like that they had actually never wanted to work with a male provider and ended up in my office because I was the only person available. And they're like, you know what,
Oh,
whatever, I'm just going to let this happen and see where it goes. And they have been thrilled with all of the work we've been able to do
nice.
and the way that they've been able to change some of their perspective around men and male therapists
Mm,
in a lot of ways by working with me.
yeah. Oh, great, Jasper. Great. I can already tell all three of you do some really great work with your clients. I can definitely see that.
If there,
So,
I just had a
yeah.
thought. Like I would expand on that and say we have a different perspective on empathy. One person's holding the tail of the elephant, and the other one's holding the trunk of the elephant, but it's still an elephant. So our sex, our cultural influences, our
Mhm.
rental, all of that shape how we show up to be empathetic for others. So I wouldn't say it's less empathetic, maybe perhaps a different empathetic. And I
Yeah.
apologize, I have a puppy here whining to go outside.
Oh, no worries. No worries
So
at all.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
excellent
different
point.
kind of empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent point. I like that. A different kind of empathy, which
And
is, I
building
think, a
on that
good.
too, I
Yeah,
think that
please. Yeah.
that different kind of empathy can help a lot of clients be more receptive to us. I think in particular, male clients might have an easier time working with a male therapist because of that shared experience
Hmm.
in the way that they are allowed to or not allowed to feel a lot of things in the way that their perception is different because of the way they're socialized.
Excellent point. Very excellent point. And I think this is a great tie-in with basically asking you all about the unique strengths or perspective do you feel male therapists bring to the field, and how can these benefits clients who might not initially consider working with a man or a male therapist? So, what unique strengths do you guys see? What other additional unique strengths do you guys see? Jasper, let's have you start us off with that.
Yeah, so I think that unique strength of being able to have the male perspective of growing up in the corporate male centric United States, right? And the
Mhm.
ways that impacts people, right? So we're able to integrate all of our personal experiences plus our education in a way that can help people who have really struggled with that problem,
Mhm.
right? And I think that with a lot of patients, right, they end up in our office because somebody else told them to show up because they're trying to make these changes to make somebody else happy but they don't know how to do that, right? Being
Mhm.
able to connect and help walk through with a client, offering that here's how you can feel things and not feel that sense of emasculation that sometimes happens when a guy is trying to present what they're feeling to a woman. And I think that
Right.
really looking
Right.
at that binary and the way that impacts. I think also a big one from where I sit is the ability to be able to sit and create a safe and nurturing and encouraging relationship with people who have not been able to experience that with men before. That
Mhm.
unique experience in that
Yeah.
room, that safe experience, makes a huge difference for some people.
Yeah. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, Jasper.
Yeah,
Um,
be modeling of male masculinity,
I am
Yeah.
slow clapping
Yes.
that one.
effectively.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
Wojciech. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A healthy role model of it, definitely. Ricky, anything you'd like to add?
Yes. And this one's an indirect answer, I suppose. I almost don't know. I don't know what kind of unique things, perspectives that male therapists can bring because I'm a neurodivergent therapist
Mm.
and my brain is a bit wired differently and it's difficult for me. It's like the neurodivergency is it's almost overpowering from the
Okay.
male therapist perspective.
Okay.
But the good news is that's just an example right there of how not all male therapists are the same.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes we're
Definitely.
wired differently. Sometimes we have different experiences, and that in
Mhm.
of itself is beautiful, fantastic, and
Yes.
beneficial.
Love that. Beautiful, fantastic, and beneficial. I agree. Definitely. Agree. Any other
Ricky,
in Oh yeah.
I actually
Yeah,
want
go
to
ahead,
build on
Jasper.
that a little bit,
Yeah,
right? Like
Yeah.
please.
you're definitely giving me this thought of something that really stood out to me with a professor that I just adored in my undergrad program was his statement and reinforcement that the differences between genders is much smaller than the difference within genders. So our
Yeah,
bell curve, when we look at the bell curve of anything, right, there is much greater difference within a gender than there is between genders. And
Yes.
looking at that and seeing that it is so person to person big.
yeah,
And so
Mhm.
there is this question of what perspective do male therapists have to offer? Yes, it's important. And what does each individual therapist have to offer that's different from the one next to them?
yeah,
And these
Yes.
things matter so much.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh
I
my
I
gosh.
remember I remember when I was first asked if I would be interested in being a guest on this particular podcast. I immediately told my wife, "What do I know about being a male therapist? I don't know." And as we're talking about it, that's one of the things that actually came up as one of the strengths is that there's a lot of variation within genders, just exactly like you're saying,
Mhm.
Jasper. And I felt like that was actually one of the strengths. And so that's one of the strengths that I bring as a therapist is that I'm not quite typical. And all of my neurotypical or neurodivergent clients really appreciate that.
Definitely, I'm sure. Any other insights or takeaways you guys would like to share?
I think that covered for me. That encapsulated it pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, Jasper, Ricky?
All good
Nope,
there.
we're all good.
Feel
All
good.
right. Just want to take the time now to thank all three of you, Wojciech, Jasper, and Ricky, for having this really good and important conversation looking at that unconscious bias oftentimes. And maybe it's not even sometimes unconscious, maybe it's a very conscious bias. And so I think you really help break down those misnomers and myths about being a male therapist. So thank you again.
Yep.
Thank you for having us
Thank
on.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the team behind the podcast, Jason Clayton and Juliana Whitten. Thank you for listening to Converse from the Couch. Take care, everyone.